Hello and good evening, everyone. What a strange situation I find myself in. And for someone of my age, I'm particularly unnerved by the need to be controlling various bits of technology as opposed to standing in front of you in the way that I normally would. And I am so disappointed that tonight I'm having to sit in my office and talk to my computer screen rather than to be welcoming you in the way that I would normally like to do to our lovely school and giving you a real flavour of the energy and everything that comes out of the school. And normally I would be in a situation where I would be asking you to go and talk to all of my teachers. And of course, today that isn't possible. Nonetheless, here we are, and we are going to make the very best of the situation we're in. And what I hope to do tonight is to bring you a flavour of the school through the screen, hopefully from the comfort of your own sofas, and a promise that we will do more of this sort of thing throughout the year, and that we are getting better and better at talking to our computer screens and recording ourselves so that we can post things on our website and you can get a flavour of the school. So tonight's session is being recorded, which means that if you know of anyone who would have liked to join us tonight but was unable to, then you can ask them to go to our website, and I hope that by tomorrow morning we will have this event posted on our website and that people can watch it again. So what I want to do today is to take you through some of the things that we feel are important for you to know about our school, in the hope that it gives you an overall sense of the school. There is going to be an opportunity for some questions and answers. If you put some questions up in the chat, later on, when I stop talking, I'm going to do my very best to multitask and to look at your questions as well as advancing the slides for my colleagues, in the hope that by the end of everyone talking to you, I will have the gist of the kind of questions you're asking, and then I will do my best to answer those towards the end of this evening. And what I intend to do is to then answer questions more generally in a kind of frequently asked questions section that I'll put on the website in the next few days. So, what I'd like to do is not only welcome you to the John Roan School as it is right now, but welcome you to something that I think is really exciting, which is a school that is one of the oldest state schools in the country. We were founded in 1677, which is well over 340 years ago. And the really exciting thing, I think, is that when a young person joins our school, they are following in the footsteps of many, many hundreds of Greenwich children who have come to the John Roan School and got a fantastic education. So those gates that you see in that image, the gates on the Maze Hill building, are the ones that would open up on that first day in September and welcome your children into our lovely building at Maze Hill. And I think that's really important. And it wasn't apparent to me how important the history of the school was until I joined the school. And I heard from so many people their passion at being part of such a long and important piece of Greenwich history. And it's kind of infectious. I now get really excited about it. And our annual Founders Day event is something that is so important to all of the school community, because we are remembering that we are part of a long piece of history. But we're also part of other things, and something that's always been important to me in my time in education is that we recognise that a school is not an island. A school is a community, is a part of the community. And I want to demonstrate to you in a few ways in which we are actively part of the community. So we have a lot of very good and strong and active links with a number of our primary schools, and we take children from well over 30 different primary schools. But we've got some feeder schools in the local vicinity that many children come to us from. And it's probably mainly with those schools that we look for ways in which we can work together. And so that might be through shared art projects, it might be through visits to the school. It could be through a wealth of opportunities, but really importantly, with every primary school that sends children to us, we have connections that we make, and we make sure that we're finding out as much as we can about the experiences the children have had before they come to us. But we're also part of the network of Greenwich schools, and I've just put a few of them up there. So Thomas Tallis, Elton Hill and Plumstead Manor in particular are ones with which I talk to a lot, and we've done visits to each other, and we do peer reviews, and we discuss as a group of head teachers many different ways in which we can work together, we can share good practice, and we can talk to each other. So last year, before the lockdown, all of us head teachers made sure that we spent a day in each other's schools just getting to know how the education goes in the different schools, and then sharing what we thought would work across all schools. And then I've put Blackheath High School down there as well as another really growing connection we've got. They are literally a 5-minute walk away. I can phone the head teacher there and ask her to put the kettle on, and my coffee will be ready by the time I get there. And again, we're looking at ways in which we can work together. We've got strong connections with music and with the sixth form in particular at the moment. But Karen and I are looking at ways in which we can work more closely together all the time. And she and I have just cooked up a way in which we can have some of our Year 10 students this year going to a gifted and talented conference in the summer, which will all be about A-level choices. And our children and her children will be going to the same conference and working together on the outcomes for that. So networking is something that is very important for the school. And we're not just part of Greenwich. That's what something's really exciting. Over the last year, we've been part of a much bigger organisation, the organisation that is United Learning. A year ago, we joined the United Learning Academy Trust. And since then, we have been able to really benefit from their huge networks that span across the whole country and include something in the region of, I think it was at last count, 47 secondary schools, 80 schools altogether. Now, some of the secondary schools are community schools like ours with a mixed ability intake. Some of the secondary schools that are part of that group are grammar and independent schools. And 6 times a year, the head teachers from all of those schools get together to share good practice and to agree ways forward. But throughout the year, we have very strong links with subject advisors, and they work with our subject teachers to make sure that we are constantly moving forward and driving forward our practice in great teaching and learning. They're helping us to develop resources. We are developing resources for other schools. We're looking at a curriculum that we can share across the schools, which means that we can do common assessments and really get a sense of standardisation across the country. There are student opportunities that open up with this network of schools. It was only just over a year ago that a number of schools within United Learning got together to create an absolutely amazing performance of Carmen, which they ran in the copper box on the Olympic Park. But there are opportunities between smaller groups of schools as well for students to get together, school councils, pupil voice, art competitions and everything else. And then there is the really strong leadership development that operates throughout United Learning, starting with beginner teachers being trained through United Learning and going right the way through for subject leaders, for heads of year, for senior leaders, for head teachers. There is a constant development programme. And I would say that in the last year in this school, we have really felt and seen the benefit of being part of that much bigger group. So we're a school in Greenwich, with a long history, and we're a school within United Learning that is able to tap into the many resources that organisation has. Going back to our history, one of the things that I think sets us apart from many schools is our long history and the fact that we have a group of trustees, the John Roan Foundation, who are absolutely committed to furthering the will of John Roan that he made in 1677 to provide an education to the children of Greenwich. And that group of trustees, that foundation, now are the owners of quite a large amount of property in Greenwich, which is rented out, and the income from that property is something that they use to continue to support the school. So the foundation owns the Maze Hill site, and they own our playing fields, and we reap enormous benefit from those two facilities on their own. But what we've also got is the ability for them to support over and above our normal school budget. Some of the ways in which they support are just featured in those photographs. So music is a hugely important part of our school life, and the foundation are able to support young people to learn a musical instrument for free in the school. And at the moment, we've got something in the region of 250 young people in the school who are learning an instrument. And it's not just the younger children when they come in. I was talking to a year 11 boy just the other day who said he'd just come out of his first piano lesson, and he was absolutely thrilled that he had been thinking about learning the piano. During lockdown, he'd been playing on a keyboard, and then he'd come into school this term and said, would he be able to have piano lessons? And of course, we were able to offer them to him. So it's not just the younger ones as they come in, but the opportunities are there for everyone. The foundation support our PE team quite significantly. You've got some images there of our basketball academy, which runs in the sixth form. But the way in which we get to our playing fields on Kidbrooke Park is through minibuses, and we've got 4 minibuses that were paid for and are run by the foundation. They support the library. One of the ex-trustees actually left some money in his will for us to improve our library, and so the library facilities in Maze Hill now are really, really fantastic, very welcoming and very, very popular. They support some of the clubs that people want to to run. So what you can see there are some students practicing for a debate make competition. They support our sixth form, and recently over the summer we had a considerable amount of work done at the cost to the foundation to improve the independent study facilities for our sixth formers. So the foundation brings a little extra something to the school in quite a significant financial way, and our students really benefit from that. We've got really wonderful special educational needs facilities, and I've just put a flavour of some of the pictures up there. We've got a sensory room, and we've got a designated specialist provision for youngsters with ASD, and if you're interested in that, I think it's probably worth a separate conversation. Because we're on 2 sites, we've actually got 2 separate special educational need facilities, and those are areas where youngsters can go to have small group work and to get some individual support, where they know they can go at break and lunch if they want to get away from the masses, and just generally really well provided for by a group of absolutely superb and expert staff working within that area. And what makes the school, I think, really special are the teachers and the adults who are working in our school community, who are totally committed to giving the very best for our children at all times. From one-to-one work with sixth formers, our small groups in the sixth form where they can really, really have a personalised study, to members of staff who give absolutely everything to make sure that their lessons are good, and they are growing and learning within the United Learning Group, and it's just a delight to walk around the school and see such joyous teaching going on at all times. So one of the things that I thought might be worth sharing with you is our John Roan lesson. So about a year ago, we made a decision that we were going to structure all of our lessons in a way that we really felt, and the research seems to suggest, is a way that really helps young people learn. And I will say that walking around the building last year and this year and seeing this structured lesson in place was a delight, because it does seem to work. So we've got everybody in the school follows a very similar structure. Every lesson starts with a review phase where some previous learning is gone through. Now, it might have been just last lesson's work and a recap, but in years 11 and 13, it's often work that they did a year and a half ago that they need to be remembering ready for their exams. And that settles the class. It means that as they walk in the room, They have something to do, it's something they should be able to do, and it engages their minds. We then go through a period of time where the teacher is introducing new material, supporting that material with examples and showing the young people how to use that material. They're modelling it. We then go into a phase where the children have a chance to demonstrate their understanding. So a large chunk of the lesson is about independent work, where the children apply the knowledge they have just been given. And then every lesson ends with a consolidation phase where the teacher can return to that learning and recap and make sure that every child leaves the room having really grasped the ideas that were being set. And one of the ways in which we've been able to really deliver these intense and well-structured lessons is because we've got a very clear system of behaviour, and it centres around our passion to have learning that is free of disruption. And it's what we call our disruption-free learning system. It's very simple, it's very clear, and it means that it can be consistently applied across the school. So if a young person is in any way disturbing a lesson and therefore preventing themselves and probably others from learning, they're given a clear warning. And that warning is articulated in a way that they know that they have done something wrong. If they continue, then they're given a second warning and asked to move. So the physical movement around the room to another seat means that there is no question about not having understood that they had been warned. And that is a second opportunity to just get on with your work and allow other people to learn in a disruption-free learning environment. If, however, that person decides actually they're not in the mood to do that and they just want to carry on disrupting, then they go straight out of the room. We don't want them in the room because we want to have the majority of the class learning. And we've got a facility called our disruption-free learning room where youngsters will go when they're removed from the class. That means that the teacher can focus entirely on their teaching and get on with what is important to the rest of the class. And that, combined with the John Roan lesson, has made a significant difference to the way in which our children are learning at the school, and I think has contributed enormously to the much more settled school we've got and the real focus on learning that has been possible as a result of putting those things into place. So that's probably enough from me. What I want to do now is I want to pass you over to my colleague Dan Garvey. Now, some of you who have got children at the school already will probably know Mr. Garvey as the head of PE, but this year he's taken on a more senior position for us, and that is to be the director of raising standards for the children in years 7 and 8. So Mr. Garvey has an overview of all of the children in the Maze Hill, and his role is to identify how well they're doing, what progress they're making, and then to really work with any youngsters who are falling behind to make sure that we've quickly identified that and we can move them on. So Dan, I'll pass over to you now.
Thank you very much, Kath, and good evening, everybody. Yes, my role is to support the improvement of standards, to support students in terms of making sure they make lots and lots of progress whilst they're in our lessons, whilst they're in our environment, and to ensure that our young people have opportunities for personal growth. There's 3 priorities that I'm going to identify this evening. Of course, we have many, but 3 that I'll be sharing today is the quality of teaching and learning. It's a real priority for us that every single lesson is very, very rigorous, that the children are learning as much as they can possibly learn, that they're stretched and they're challenged, and that the lessons are engaging, that the children are enjoying their lessons whilst they're here with us. We, as Kath mentioned a moment ago, we have a set structure for our lessons. We have 4 stages, and I think that provides us with some consistency. I think the children benefit from that consistency from lesson to lesson, and I think that staff really buy into that. So we have the 4 stages: review, activate, demonstrate and consolidate. Underpinning our lessons are the Roan principles. So these are principles for instruction that again are well researched, and we know maximise the impact of our teaching, so that we are always delivering really high quality teaching and learning, and that our children are making as much progress in every single lesson as possible. Kath mentioned a moment ago our disruption-free learning. We all agree that the environment that the children are learning in is incredibly important. So our children need to be focused on learning, and they need to be free of disruption. As Kath mentioned, we're sort of firm, but I think we're very fair. And where there are issues around behaviour, we communicate really proactively with parents. And the children, they understand our expectations. They understand why we have a sort of hard line on behaviour, because we know that progress is the most important thing. So the children understand our approach, and like I say, we communicate with parents, and we have an environment now in this school where you can walk around the corridors in this building, the doors are open, and there's great lessons going on all over the place. So it's very enjoyable to monitor lessons, to pop into lessons, and to see that children are engaged in their learning, and they're actually really enjoying their learning, and they're making lots and lots of progress. And my final point on this slide here is about pride. Students that consistently demonstrate pride in their learning, they make the most progress. And that might sound like a simple sort of statement to make, and the graph is very clear and linear here for you. So in a way, it is very simple. When we analyse student performance, we look at the attendance of students, we look at the punctuality of students, and we look at their attitude to learning in lessons. We analyse this data, and we attribute a score, a pride score, to the types of behaviours that we believe students are demonstrating. And we aspire for all of our students to be demonstrating level 7, 8 or 9 behaviour in terms of their pride score. Again, this is language that children are very aware of and familiar with. But we know by analysing the data that students that do the right thing in terms of their behaviour for learning have the greatest outcomes. They improve, they make the most progress, and at the end of their journey with us, they are the students that succeeded most. So that's why we talk about pride so often. The children are very familiar with our pride values, and they understand the why. They understand why it is so important, and they do understand that every lesson counts for them. It's something that we talk to the children about regularly. On this slide, you'll see that a range of pictures really. So outside of the classroom, we believe there's enormous opportunities for personal growth, particularly in this school. We have fantastic partnerships with the Greenwich Titans basketball programme, Child Athletic Community Trust. We work with dementia patients, the elderly in our local community through brilliant outreach work organised by the library. Our students are involved in school council activities. Again, student voice, very important. Kath mentioned we have Debate Mate, which is very popular amongst the students. And you know, our students have a really unique opportunity to study, to learn a musical instrument free of charge. I think that's magnificent, and I know that the children that attend free music lessons really value that opportunity. Outside of what we do sort of locally and within our local community and our school community, we have a global outlook as well. So we work with the Don McMath Foundation, which is a charity which helps to support the development of young children in developing countries, and hoping to give those students also as many opportunities as we have through fundraising and through various different outreach activities that we engage in, so that we can support other people, because as we know, it's very important to think about how we can help others in life too. The final picture, just to comment on there, is some students performing in one of our productions. We do have some incredibly talented children in this school. I could talk about that for a very long time, and I won't on this occasion. But we're blessed with children with big characters, fantastic talents and big personalities, and yeah, I believe that the children that are part of our school community get a fantastic experience. Talking of experiences, again, this is very unique in my opinion. We have a outdoor education centre in Braithwaite in the Lake District that our children thoroughly enjoy visiting. As you can imagine, it's very exciting for them to be in a dorm situation with their friends, and they are challenged to get out in the environment, to participate in things like gill scrambling, kayaking, rock climbing, to be responsible for cooking their own meals and looking after each other. These really important skills that we know are so important for young people these days. We've spoken to lots of children that have come back from Braithwaite and said actually that trip was sort of life-changing. It was really transformative. It meant a lot to them, and you know, that's the feedback we get through Student Voice. And we think this is a magnificent, again, opportunity that's quite unique that we can offer our students. This is the way I see our students, really. They're happy, they enjoy coming into school, they are very cohesive, an inclusive bunch, and like I mentioned a moment ago, full of personality. Kath mentioned a moment ago, we've got really good standards currently in our school. Big improvements have been made, and the children are really focusing on their learning, which is the #1 priority. But we're very passionate about the development of the whole child, as I mentioned a moment ago. This is my opportunity now to introduce our current head of Year 7, Miss Johnson. She will run through how we work pastorally and provide you with some more information.
Good evening. I'm so pleased that I'm able to speak with you this evening because I really believe in and I'm really proud of the pastoral support that we're able to offer our students at the John Roan School. I thought I would start off by perhaps looking at what my key priorities are as a head of year. My priorities are that our students are happy, that they're safe, and that they feel involved, that they're able to reach and fulfill and exceed their potential. And the way that we do that is make sure that we have a pastoral system that's centered around really the whole child, because they're not going to be able to fulfill their potential or to reach those goals if they're not feeling happy and safe and involved in school. And so the way that we do that is we really have layers to our pastoral care where we're looking at the emotional, the social, the academic, and the character building side of pastoral care. And we do that in a number of ways, some of which you've already heard, the amazing opportunities that are available. But if I just start perhaps with the academic side, you've heard from Mr. Garvey. We do early intervention, which helps us identify barriers to learning so that we can put strategies in place immediately to help our students overcome that. We're going to be running a homework club that starts very soon. It runs at the end of the day, so there are students there who perhaps might struggle with homework on their own, who are able to be supported by myself and the rest of our pastoral team. We really want to make sure that we are bridging that digital divide, and we've done a lot of really good work around getting students more technologically literate and giving them that one-to-one support to make sure that they can log on and access the technology that is being incorporated into their lessons. We also have support outside of lessons, support inside of lessons, or we can refer students to our SLC where they're able to work one-to-one if they need that additional support, which is really fantastic. In terms of emotional support, we have our Pride Room, which is another superb resource for our students. They're able to then be referred to the Pride Room or drop into the Pride Room should they be dealing with any sort of emotional issue, where we also can teach them conflict resolution, coping skills, growth mindset, and support them further with the transition from primary to secondary school. Not only is it important that we are academically kind of looking after them and emotionally looking after them, but also socially. And you've heard today, we have so many opportunities for our students, whether that be debate mate or sports teams or clubs or community outreach, being able to play instruments. Looking after them socially really helps us have that well-rounded approach to pastoral care and have them become well-rounded individuals. We also have a great character education program, which I'm incredibly proud of. We have tutor-led assemblies, which allow our students to take the lead and present on topics that are really important to them for the entire school to see. And we also have our proud values, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about on the next slide. So for us, it's really important as a school that we communicate our pride values, which are proud, respect, involved, determined, excellent. All of our year 7 and 8 students have a pride passport, which they look after and guard, I think, just as much as they would their real passport, if not perhaps more. They're really proud of their pride passports because that's our ability to make sure that we are rewarding their excellent behavior, because the majority of the time, the majority of our students are doing exactly what they're meant to be doing, and we love to be able to reward them for that. We want them to be responsible for their actions and responsible for their learning, and we really feel that our pride values are going to help them become successful later in life, which is why our pride passport and our pride values are such a key part of our pastoral care. We also have a whole school reading program, which is something that we've always kind of had in the background, but it's become something that's a major focus for us this year, because we know that there are so many links to reading wider and also the impacts that that has. So we know that it improves their general knowledge, we know that it improves focus, we know that it helps them become better writers. And so we have this whole school focus where we are having a drop everything in read time and really getting kids involved in wider reading and working with our library and our librarian to make sure that we are really challenging them to read wider and gain all of those benefits. At this point in time, I'm going to pass this over to some of our students over at the John Roan School who are going to share with you their experiences at school thus far. Thank you so much.
So when I first started at the John Roan, I'm not going to lie, it was pretty daunting. But things like doing your homework, getting to your classrooms on time, and making friends, all are really stressful, but everyone, staff, pupils, they're all so friendly and make the transition just so much easier and so much nicer.
Yeah.
When I first started in year 7, it was pretty daunting, I'm not going to lie, but that's understandable because you're moving from being the oldest in a primary school to being the youngest in a secondary school, and things like doing your homework, getting to your classes on time, and making friends can all seem very stressful. But the staff are so friendly, everyone's really welcoming, and it just makes the transition that much easier. I find I'm quite a diverse learner. I academically excel, but I'm also a really big fan of more artistic subjects as well. I was quite shy when I first came to this school, and subjects like drama and music and art really helped me come out of my shell and showcase who I really was to everyone else. On the topic of music, this school does offer free music lessons to absolutely anyone who would wish to have them. I was already a singer before I came to this school, but I adopted the piano, which has really helped with my musicality and performance skills, which for someone interested in performing arts and music was really helpful.
When I first started in year 7, I felt a little shy. I felt a little shy and scared at the same time, as it was my first day of secondary school. However, as the days and weeks settled in, I really started to feel like the John Roan School was another home, and I really started to feel like I could come in the John Roan School anytime and be welcome. The staff have really helped me to settle in, as they've really motivated me to do the best of my ability always, not just classwork, but like homework as well. And Also, if like any students have like problems outside of school, they're a really good person to talk to as well. Okay, let's now talk about Pride. In the John Roan School, they recently made a Pride passport with the staff. And in the Pride passport, you can get different stickers, which each represent one of the letters in Pride. You can get a proud sticker, a respectful sticker, an involved sticker, a determined sticker, an excellent sticker, and you can also get an above and beyond sticker if you've really shown that you deserve, you have done all the like Pride characteristics and you like in conclusion have shown that you just really deserve it.
When I first started in year 7, I felt scared and really terrified due to the fact that I wasn't originally supposed to go to this school, and in the middle of summer holidays I changed because I felt like the other school didn't really fit me and didn't really like go with what I wanted, and I think I made the right choice because like the children are really welcoming and friendly, and the staff are really supporting, and they do very well at their job. I think certain subjects that I do well in are history, music, and English. I think a teacher that's really helped me is Miss Ishmael, because she has pushed me with my reading, because my reading is very jittery and I stutter a lot, and she's pushed me to read more in lessons, and that's really helped me with my writing. And I feel like the safeguarding team really helped too, because if you ever need someone to talk to, or you think someone else needs someone to talk to, they're always there.
Hiya, I'm Yale from year 13. At the moment, I'm studying maths, physics, and business. A little bit about me: I joined in year 7, coming from a different country, knowing no one, having no friends, and being really into sports. I went to sports clubs from Monday to Friday, and this really helped me build on my confidence. It helped me make new friends. It really helped me become someone different. And I feel like even if your son/daughter may not be into sports, clubs such as the debate club or the library club, these clubs kind of help students achieve a lot more than what they could have. And talking about opportunities, I took part in an opportunity of a lifetime, such as the Duke of Edinburgh Award, along with a sports leadership level 2 course. At the same time, me being really into sports, specifically cricket, the school gave me an opportunity to meet the England cricket team, which, in my opinion, it probably was one of the best days of my life. And in terms of teaching and teachers, I feel like John Roan have probably one of the best teachers out there, because if it wasn't for my teachers pushing me to work hard, I would not have received the GCSEs I have, along with even during this lockdown kind of school closure thing, teachers emailing me almost every day, demanding for work, asking for me to give my 100%. If I didn't give my 100%, they send the work back and told me to do better. I feel like this is a lot that John Roan give out, and I feel like, yeah, it's a really good place to be in.
Thank you, everybody. It's been really great. I hadn't heard the students before, and I think they did us proud, and they were certainly talking from the heart. I love the idea, Yale, of teachers hassling you by email until you've done your very best. That's kind of what I want everyone to be doing all the time. I've been watching your questions come through, and I've picked up on a few, so thank you very much, and I'll answer those. I'm just going to move to the next slide, just so everybody knows we're doing questions and answers. If you don't mind, I'm just going to skim through some of them as general questions, and beware, Mr. Garvey, I've got a couple that might come your way, and Miss Johnson, there are a couple that might come your way as well, so don't run away from your desks. The one that I think I might go to first was we've had a couple of questions around our next Ofsted report, and I am acutely aware that the Ofsted's the last Ofsted report we had is not one that I have bound in leather and put on my dining room table for people to see or anything like that. I think that report, which was written 2.5 years ago now, was a fact of where the school was then, and what I hope that I'm able to tell you tonight, and the way in which you should have picked up from things, is the school is in a very, very different place now. And there's a little bit of sadness in me that Ofsted aren't due to come yet. What they do is they give you an amount of time to make a difference. And so at the time of the Ofsted report, I was at the school part-time. I became a substantive teacher this September following that March report. And so I've been the substantive full-time head teacher here for 2 years. And in those 2 years, the school has changed considerably. And the John Roan lesson outline that I talked to you about, the disruption-free learning, are the starting points for that. So they have enabled the teaching and learning to improve significantly. The support from United Learning has been hugely significant in helping that. We are due for an Ofsted, I believe, within 3 years of the last one. But that's what you read sometimes. In other places you hear within 3 years of joining the new Academy Trust. So we could get an Ofsted report this year, or we might get it next year. What I do think is bring it on. We have got a huge amount to show people. We are really keen to celebrate the massive progress that we've made, and the significant different feel to the school from 2.5 years ago. And although lockdown and school closure and the lack of exams has impacted on league tables in as much as they haven't happened this year, we are enormously proud of the huge progress that was demonstrated to us by last year's Year 11 and 13, and Year 11 in particular, who, had we got league tables, we would have been bouncing up them in terms of the amount of progress that those students made. So although they obviously only their last 2 years with us at GCSE were ones where they were part of this significant change, in that time we were able to see their really significant change in their attitude to learning. And as a result, the school's progress last year was really very strong and very pleasing. And what we intend to do this year is not just maintain that progress, but improve it again. And looking at where our current Year 11 are, we think that is absolutely possible. So that's the first question around Ofsted and possibly around grades last year. We've had a number of questions today around special educational needs and support, some of which I think have since been answered in terms of what Alex Johnson was talking about our Pride Room in the Maze Hill building, which is an area where young people in particular, perhaps with ADHD and who are finding the transition from primary to secondary particularly difficult, are able to access some really intensive and caring support, which helps them to get back into good habits for learning and to learn to manage their behaviours in a way that is expected. There was a question around our disruption-free learning approach and whether we do adaptations for youngsters with special educational needs. I'm going to say, of course we do. We have very personalised reasonable adjustments that are made for each child who needs them. And so although we've got the warn, move, remove, it might well be that a child has warn, move, remove. Or it might be that when they're removed to the special educational needs centre as opposed to the disruption-free learning room. All of those things are individualised and personalised to the needs of that particular child. Mr. Garvey, we've had a question around, I'll combine a few questions. One of them is around someone who's got a talented footballer and is wondering how we manage the release for them to go to football academy. So I thought you might be able to answer that. Perhaps alongside expanding a little bit about extracurricular activities that we offer. So Mr. Garvey, can I just pass over to you? If you unmute your mic, you don't necessarily have to come on screen, but we can hear you.
Thank you, Kath. Yeah, we have a history of talented footballers that have come through the John Roan School. At least one at the moment playing in the Premier League. So yeah, I mean, the process would involve parents getting in contact with the head of year, and then we communicate in regards to ensuring that we maximise the amount of time students are here learning. And then we will understand, we'll work with other clubs, but we sort of understand that there will, in these sort of extreme cases, be some little adaptations made to timetables, but we're very reticent to do that, generally speaking, but we will work with partner organisations, and in this case a professional football club, to sort of make sure all boxes are ticked. I think in the past we've actually had really good relationships with the football club, and the learning has continued at the club, and we've been able to communicate with them in terms of what students are due to be studying in the curriculum, etc. So that's one thing. Kathy, you mentioned our extracurricular offer. We're very proud of it actually at the John Roan School. We've hopefully presented that in the presentation this evening. It's broad and it's open to everybody. I explain to the children regularly that our clubs are free of charge and everybody is welcome. All abilities are welcome. And I think an after-school club is somewhere where students can feel safe and challenged, and they can develop a range of personal skills. I'll run you through a quick range of the clubs that we offer. Football, rugby, basketball, we have indoor rowing, we have trampolining club, we have debate mates, we have homework club, we have, I'm sure I'm forgetting absolutely loads here, we have at least 1 or 2 clubs every night of the week that students can attend. And what we've often said to students, particularly student voice students, is let us know if there's not a club that you would like to participate in, let us know, and we will we'll put that club on for you. Okay.
Thank you very much. I'm just trying to tie together a few questions, and I also want to introduce my associate head at this point, who's Josephine Okakon, and is sitting trying to do all the technical bits at the same time. But Josephine, there's been a question around 2 different themes really, but I'll take the first one, which is transition activities. Now, normally I would pass that on to Alex Johnson, but I know that Alex hasn't been with us very long, and the summer that she was doing transition activities was actually the lockdown summer. So between you, I just wondered, maybe Josephine, you could talk a little bit about the transition activities that we would have run last year and that we have run in the past. Thank you.
Thanks, Kath. Yes, we've had quite a menu of things that we wanted to do for transition. So I'll just give you a flavour of the things we've done in the past, and then how we might change it slightly this year coming. So, for example, we are very determined that when students have been selected or have their acceptance letter, that they don't feel apprehensive and they come in and quickly into the school. So we've in the past done a series of friendship afternoons, and in those friendship afternoons we've had students who come in, it's just to socialise really, but we get them to get a flavour of some of the subjects that we do. They might come and do some maths quizzes, they might come and do a little bit of textiles because they might not have experienced that before. They might come and use some of our sports facilities, and it's an opportunity to just meet other students who will be coming to the John Roan. So we're really positive about the fact that we want to bring students together and help them feel the building, get used to the faces that they might have, and also get used to each other. So that's been really successful. We've had lots of primary and secondary relationships generally anyway. We've been well known, and I don't know if Dan would want to say anything more on this, but we've been well known for running a lot of primary school sports. So that in itself is a great opportunity to get to know the school and sort of get a feel for what it's like to be in a big school in secondary. We also have lots of links with our feeder primary schools and our student librarians, which you'll see a little bit in the film, but also you've heard a few from tonight. They have worked with our librarian in various different ways. It's not just reading, but one of the activities they do is go down and work with reception students and read, so you get a flavour, so the younger ones get a sense of what the John Roan students are like. We have lots of primary schools come up to us and our students, along with our librarian, but our students do the bulk of the organising. We run lots of quizzes, book quizzes. We've had recently from our librarian, we had a Harry Potter event where people came up and they started to have quizzes all around the phenomena that is Harry Potter. I think we were going to have a lovely tea party for our students, primary school students, and get to know a little bit about some other books that have quite a lot of famous connotations and just experience that time. So that's what we've done in the past. What we'd like to do in the future is we would like to have some more virtual meetings like we're having today, where some of our students will be able to talk to primary school students directly into their classroom, and they can have like a nice question and answer. In the past, I've taken our previous students over to their old primary school, and they've already grown up, but it's a nice opportunity for the younger students at that same primary school. So I remember you, and then they get to talk to them, and they have an opportunity to present about the school, but also have a nice connection and discussion about what life is truly like growing up and going into secondary school. So we want to continue to build that and have that link and connection with our primary schools in various different ways. And then recently, our head of year 7, Alex, maybe she'll want to chip in a moment. She did a virtual video, just getting a sense of what the school was like. So she walked around the school so that our new year 7s could see the building. And then she had lots of one-to-one meetings with our year 7 students, just so that they can ask her questions, be familiar with her face, and start to know and understand what John Roan's really like. So I'm sure I can go on and on, but there was quite a lot of transition opportunities for our students and for the primary students.
Thanks, Josephine. I'm aware that we're probably running over time, but I think there's a couple more really kind of key questions that I would want to address. And parents keep writing more. Alex, I haven't come to you, so I'll come over to you now. And there's been a couple of questions that I think are really important and really topical. And actually, I know that we're doing a huge amount of work around it, which is the whole work that is core to our character work around anti-racism and our promotion of different groups of people. I don't know whether, Alex, you feel that you could perhaps come in with some of the work we do through PSHE, and then maybe Dan or Josephine might want to add to that. Alex, you come off mute and then you're able to respond.
My screen is frozen, but I'm hoping that you can hear me.
Yes, we can. Yeah. Okay,
brilliant. So this month obviously marks Black History Month. So we've started working on some Black Lives Matter material in our PSHE time. Alongside of our curriculum, our pastoral curriculum, our PSHE curriculum, where we're able to make sure that we are teaching about inclusivity, teaching about cultural awareness, and making sure that students' voices feel heard. So if there are issues that are important to them, that we are able to make sure that we address them in school, so that they have that safe space where they're able to make sure that their voice is heard, and that we're able to teach them about diversity and about the issues that really do matter most to them.
Thanks. Josephine, do you want to add any more about what we're doing globally as the whole staff around anti-racism work?
Yes, certainly. I think one of the key things we did as a school, we joined in with the whole of the United Learning team, and we got together with all leaders who are from Black and ethnic minority backgrounds, and we shared what our experiences were, and we talked about what will be good as a movement together as a whole trust, but also within our own schools. And since then, as a school, we've got together as a group, and we talked about the sorts of activities that will be useful for our students, for our staff, for the community as well. So we've all got divided up into little projects, and so we've got some students, some members of staff who are working on the work that we can do to support our students. And this month we've been celebrating Black History Month, and lots of students have done assemblies. We've had members of staff create assemblies and share them with students as well. We have a committee or a group that are working on how do we encourage our Black and ethnic minority students to really aspire and go for the top universities, Russell Group universities. So we've got a group of staff going to be really mentoring our sixth form students to make sure that they make the best choices they can to get into the universities that will really make a difference for them. And we've got members of staff who are working on recruitment and how we can attract staff across everywhere, but also how do we make sure that it's a welcoming environment, which already is. We've got such a wide cultural and diverse staff in our school. It's about harnessing that, and what can we do to make sure that staff then start to think about ways that they can progress within the school. So there's quite a lot happening in the background around diversity and inclusivity.
Thanks, and I think it's worth saying that we're picking apart our curriculum to make sure that we are addressing anything which we feel is inappropriate, and making sure that it's a well-balanced curriculum, that the books that we're using, the texts that we're using, the displays around the school are all representative of the whole school community. So we do quite a lot of anti-racist work. We will pick that up as we would pick up any bullying, and we will deal with that. But much more positively, we are doing a huge amount of work in the school community to promote the delight and the joy of diversity as part of the school community. So I hope that answers those questions that are coming up. We've had some questions around size, and of course you're not here, so you can't get a feel for it, so I accept that. We have a PAN of 210, so our pupil admission number is 210 per year group, which then divides into 7 form groups. And so those 7 form groups are each of 30. Now, the way we then divide the school is that we have got years 7 and 8 based in the Maze Hill building. And then they, I suppose we could say, graduate to the Westcombe Park building for years 9, 10 and 11. And the 2 buildings therefore have a little bit of a different feel to it. So it is, I think, a very supportive, small environment at Maze Hill. It's not particularly easy to get lost in that building. It's quite easy to navigate, and with the exception of sixth form who go across both sites, the Maze Hill building is our lowest school, and it is a great transition point for the youngsters. They then transition up, they graduate up to Westcombe Park in years 9, 10 and 11. And we make quite a big deal about being able to perhaps in some cases do a bit of a fresh start at that point, and the slightly more grown-up environment of the Westcombe Park site. So it does mean by having 2 sites that we are not very big on either site. So in terms of those kind of fears of size and everything else, that isn't such an issue. It also means that there is plenty of room on the playground. So in some schools, what you find is that you graduate over the years to being able to play football or whatever on the playground, and it's largely the older students who dominate. Whereas, of course, at the John Roan, we've got a lower school facility and an upper school facility, which I do think makes a difference. There was a question that came through around setting and our policy around setting. So we start off in a mixed ability, a broadly mixed ability setting, but not for very long. And very quickly in Year 7, the core subjects, Maths, English and Science, begin to divide their groups by ability so that they're able to teach to ability groupings. The other subjects remain mixed ability, and I think that's fairly commonplace in most schools. So history, RE, geography, art, and so on are all mixed ability groupings. And that then continues on into the Westcombe Park site, but obviously when the youngsters choose their options, they remain in mixed ability groups. So, you know, you might be in a history group that is a mixed ability group, but again, that's a fairly standard approach. We offer a wide range of subjects. I've been asked if we offer media. Currently, we do not, because we haven't got a media specialist on our staff. We do offer photography. We offer science, both as the triple science option, physics, biology and chemistry, or as the combined science, or what used to be known as the double science option. But in Year 11 and Year 10, whether you're doing single sciences or you're doing the combined science, you get taught biology, chemistry and physics separately by specialist teachers. So you're getting that input whether you go down the combined science route or the single sciences. A couple more questions, and then I am going to do my best to try and finish off on a film. We have a uniform. It is a low-cost uniform in as much as the blazer and the tie are the only branded pieces of uniform. The rest of it, the white shirt, the black trousers and skirt and everything, can be purchased from many, many places at quite low cost. I have not addressed the uniform since I've been here. Currently, I will say, because there's been a couple of questions, I am not planning to address the school uniform. It's something that was very passionately felt by the John Roan Foundation as something which was the students are able to wear the crest, the green blazer, which is something that the children of the John Roan School have been doing for many, many years. And I think, in fact, the crest they've been wearing for 343 years. So in answer to a couple of questions around our uniform, we will, for the time being anyway, be remaining in the existing school uniform. Alex, are you able to just finish off with a question around, I think it's just unpacking a little bit more of what you talked about in terms of pastoral care, please, especially with the Year 7s as they arrive.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of, Kath has already mentioned that our site is a lot smaller, but we have a number of systems in place that allow for me kind of on a day-to-day to monitor and to see how students are settling in. We have an exceptional team of form tutors who are really great. They are that check-in point for their tutees. So they see them Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday every morning, and that's where they start their day. So that's their first point of contact. So should any issues arise, really that's the first person who will become aware of them, and then those get kind of passed on to me for me to then either deal with them on my own or liaise with the other departments that we have around the school. So whether that is bringing a child to the Pride room to get them that emotional support, whether that is referring them over to the SLC so that they can get that extra lesson support. So depending on what the issue is, would depend on how each kind of incident is dealt with, but we do have really great ways and great communication in terms of checking in on those students. In terms of the transition, I see our students, every morning. Our inset day is just year 7s and the sixth form, but the year 7s get to come in, they get to see the building without the year 8s in it, without it being crowded, and they really have the opportunity to spend that first inset day getting to know the building, getting to know their tutors, getting to know our routines and our systems, so that once lessons do start, they are that much more acclimated to the building. So we do work really closely with all of the other departments around the school, and especially with the form tutors, especially in these first few weeks, to identify any barriers, any issues to learning, and make sure that we are putting the systems in place to address them, so that all students are feeling supported and settled in their first few weeks at John Roan.
Thank you. Well, there's one question around tours. I mean, unfortunately, at the moment, it is very, very challenging to bring visitors into school to do tours. I know that we have done a virtual tour, which you you can look at on our website, and I think what we might do is try and do some more of those. They're fairly amateur jobs, if you don't mind me saying. It's kind of a mobile phone around the school and showing you what's going on, but we'll do our best to do that. But to compensate, what we thought we would do is see if we could get someone in to make a video. Now, we've got a 5-minute video that I do want to show you, although I'm just going to say that we only got it this afternoon and we haven't really had much practice in me trying to play it to you, and my technical skills are not perhaps what we might want. So I'm going to do my very best to play you the school video. It might take a little bit of faffing around at the beginning, and I apologise for that. When we did a rehearsal just before 6 o'clock, what we discovered was that the syncing between sound and vision wasn't absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to send you my apologies for that in advance. What I will do, though, is make sure that it's up on the website tomorrow, and you'll be able to see it in all its glory tomorrow. But what it does do is give you a bit more of a flavour of the school, and what it also does is has conversations with a number of parents and students, so you can hear a little bit more about the school. What I will also commit to is to trying to do some frequently asked questions, so try and respond to some of the questions that I can see in the corner of my eye are coming up on my screen, but I'm just not able to answer all of them right now. So I am going to have a go at trying to get this video to work. Bear with me, I'm sorry.
I was nervous because it was my first day, but I think as the day went on and all the teachers were like telling us how everything was going to go and how everything went, I think I became more comfortable and more like safe in the school.
I really like it because the curriculum is really wide-ranging and challenging, so you do lots of different things and you don't do too much of anything.
I'm committed to a really broad curriculum. I think it's really important that young people have opportunity to learn a wide range of subjects for as long as they can. So at this school, throughout years 7, 8 and 9, the children have no choice. They cover the full curriculum. And it isn't until they're in year 9 that they get the opportunity to select subjects for their GCSEs. So they're selecting from a really strong base of knowing what the subjects are about.
My favourite subject is English. You kind of find a path in your mind that you didn't know that you had.
Teachers are very supportive with our work, and they want us to get it done, and they make everything so simple for us, and they break it down, so it's good. I feel like people are valuing you as an individual and you feel like your work is appreciated and how hard you've been working is seen by the teachers.
You get really good options in the school.
Teachers are really good. They can really teach.
I'm Ellie. I'm a history and politics teacher, and I started here last year as a trainee, and I'm doing my NQT year. I love the school. I think I was hooked within about 3 weeks. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, but the kids are amazing. And I think that the other staff are really, really supportive.
The teachers put a lot of work into their lessons and they really care that you enjoy them and you find them interesting. I think the level of teaching is very high and I've been happy with all the teachers I've had so far.
In the last couple of years, this school has, in my opinion and many people's opinions, really on the up now. The teaching has really improved. The children are really settled and encouraged to learn and want to learn.
Under the leadership of Kath Smith, things have dramatically improved. My youngest daughter in year 9, her and her friends just said to me this afternoon that things are so much better the last couple of years. They're really enjoying learning in lessons. There's good classroom discipline, and they're all really, really happy to be back at school.
For me, sports, like, you could just do it and let out like your feelings for it.
Oh, the school's amazing for sport. It's way better than I could have expected, and my primary school was. I mean, the PE department's great. I remember last year there were loads of cross-country races that they took us to. There's athletic competitions and all different sports. There's like basketball club, football. There's everything. It's really great.
There's free music lessons, which is amazing because usually if you went to any school, you'd have to pay for that.
Yeah, I play piano. I get taken out of lessons for 20 minutes and it's free.
I play cello, so I'm part of the strings orchestra that also has violins and actually has drums. There's also a bigger orchestra that has brass and it has woodwind as well.
I like how we all follow the core values and how they provide a sense of like safety and comfort to the students of the school.
Proud, respectful, involved, determined and excellent.
It's kind of what you feel like when you go to school. It's like, even if it's just something small, I can feel proud of myself for doing that.
We have to demonstrate the pride values and what they mean to us.
The reward system revolves around being one of those values, so we have pride points, and so if you've shown one of those values, then you'll get a pride point. We actually have a green passport with us, and teacher has stickers, and then you get a sticker for each value that you've done, and the whole group that has the most stickers, they get a reward which no teacher's telling us what it is. We've asked every teacher. It's a surprise because everyone's actually working really hard to get like the most stickers because they want to know what it is as well.
I am involved in the John Roan School Association, and I do believe that we're one of the biggest PTAs in secondary schools, especially in South East London. During lockdown, it was brought to our attention that there are some families out there that didn't have a working laptop and that children were learning on mobile phones, and we soon put a stop to that.
They raised over £15,000 to go towards purchasing laptops. This was then match funded by the John Roan Foundation, and we were able to buy well over 200 new laptops that we've then loaned out to children. And we had parents, we had families, we had staff all working together to raise money. And I think that sense of community really said something to me about the passion that our whole community has for making things really good for our children. It is always very difficult to put your finger on the one thing that would make a difference. But I would say that most people who visit us just know from walking through the door that they can trust us with their children and that we will do the very best for their child for the 7 years they're with us. I am incredibly sorry that I took the visuals away in the middle of that. I was fiddling and I'm very sorry. We will put that video up for you all to see on the website tomorrow, and my apologies for messing it around today. Clearly I shouldn't be allowed near computers. There was one question that a parent has repeatedly asked me to answer, so I will answer it now, which is around staff retention. we have had, over the last 2.5 years that I've been involved in the school, a number of people moving on. I think it's very difficult when a new leader comes into school and changes things around and perhaps challenges the way in which things have been done in the past. And for some people that is great, but for other people that doesn't work so well. So we have had some turnaround, but I am absolutely thrilled with the staff that I have appointed into their place. We have got a really, really exciting group of staff who, like Ellie you saw on the video, are really, really enthusiastic teachers. They love being with the children. Their content knowledge, their subject knowledge is fantastic. And it is that kind of excitement that is really making a big difference to the school. And it's something that we really saw emerge through the lockdown, where staff had to be really creative and think about new ways of teaching. And we were incredibly excited to see the way in which many of our staff really thought outside the box and worked out ways in which they could teach the children and teach them better and better. So I hope that's the answer to the staff retention. We have had some staff turnover. I think that we have benefited enormously from a lot of new people coming in and perhaps bringing fresh ideas to the school. There was a question about my longevity. I can't answer that terribly well. I will stay here as long as they will have me. I love it here. I've been drawn into the school. I remember coming here as a consultant 3 years ago and just feeling really hooked into the children and the way in which they were so resilient and so proud of being part of the school and so wanted to learn so much. And I think the children, the teachers and the staff I'm working with, and actually the parent group, and the way in which that parent group is I think definitely, as Eve was saying on the video, one of the biggest I have ever worked with in a secondary school. They really make it worth coming to school every day, and I love it at the John Roan. I'm going to stop there. We will try and do some tours if we possibly can. We'll put information out there if that is possible. Meanwhile, we're going to get excited about doing virtual tours. I know that our staff are beginning to put up not just information about their curriculum in terms of bits of paper, but they are also beginning to put up little videos about their subject, mainly at the moment for Year 11, to help them and their parents to understand the changes to the curriculum that have come about this year. But those are the sorts of things that I think once they're up on the website, all parents might find interesting and a really good way to get to meet our different teachers. So I want to stop here, 22 minutes over the time that I had hoped, so I am sorry about that. And I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. I do hope you found it useful. Please keep the questions flowing in. We will do our very best to make sure that we're answering your questions on our website on a frequently asked question area that I will get working on straight away. Thank you all for coming, and thank you to my staff for joining us. Good night.